Very slow today. Very not happy with me here. Okay, from the beginning. And I'm really hoping, because I mean, I'm not super experienced in this realm. I learned a lot from doing these videos and doing this presentation. So for especially you, Katya, and Fernanda, because you guys have so much more experience in this realm, if I have something wrong or if I misunderstood it or if you have something to add, please feel free to jump in because yeah, I'm still learning and figuring all of this out. So if you have something to add, I'm so happy to hear your feedback. Okay, so the screen has just gone black, so that's not what we want here. Just a second. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. I'm still loading presentation. Something wrong with my computer. I have a feeling, but hopefully. Aha, okay. So for this week's training, it's on technical SEO and the first half of, I think it was chapter 8 in the videos that we were watching. So what we're going to talk about today is HTTP versus HTTPS. Google Search Console, we're going to touch a little bit on Google Analytics. And I'd really love to know, because I mean, I think especially Katya, you probably have a lot more access to see performance and stuff like that on the webpage. So I'm really curious to hear your feedback and kind of your experience that you can share. What is a sitemap and how to create one? Duplicate content, which is of course really important for us, and then 404 pages. So first one is HTTP versus HTTPS. It stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And then of course, adding the S on the back is for secure. So HTTP is a method for encoding, but transporting information from a client, like a web browser, and the server. So the HTTP is the primary protocol for transmitting information across the internet. And the information is exchanged between clients and servers in the form of hypertext documents, which is where it gets its name from. HTTPS was originally used for secure payments, but now it's overtaking the popularity of HTTP because of how secure the data is. So you can see the picture above, so it gives you that example, and that's how you know, right? It's just that beginning of the URL. So HTTP transfers the data in plain text. So, and I don't know if you guys watch the videos, but he gives this example where we type hello world and then it translates to hello world. HTTPS uses a type of encryption. So it garbles the data for hackers, right? So it's much more secure. So if you type in hello world, it translates to absolute nonsense. So you have no idea what it is, right? Which makes it more secure. And you'll see up at the top there, the picture that I added in just kind of shows that difference as well. If you want to transfer from HTTP to HTTPS, you can just contact your hosting company who should issue and install the SSL certificate. So that's the secure sockets layer for redirecting traffic from one to the other version with very little effort. Any questions on that, or do you guys have anything to add if you have extra knowledge about this that you want to share?
I'll go to my site, Annie.
All good. All right. We move forward. Google Search Console. So this is a free service offered by Google that helps you monitor, maintain, and troubleshoot your site's presence in the Google search results. So you don't have to sign up for Search Console to be included in the search results, but this does help you understand and really improve how Google sees your site. So it's kind of the main hub of information, and later we're going to show you how you can actually add XML sitemaps to your site through Google Search Console. Hang on, friends. Yeah, okay. And so when we compare it to Google Analytics, what's the difference? Because when I first saw the page, I thought, okay, well, like, how does that relate to Google Analytics? Are they the same? How does it connect? So the Search Console helps you monitor your website's performance, right? And your search engine results. And then your Google Analytics are going to help you learn more about the users, who they are, how they found you, and how they interact with your website. I guess a question for maybe Katya, she'll probably know. She knows all, I think. With the Google Search Console and the analytics, are they programs that are connected at all, or they are like separate kind of plugins or separate pieces that we use as a software company?
To be honest, I only use Google Analytics because all my experience is when the site is already live and to check the traffic. Google Search Console, I haven't used it very much, but I understand that it's basically like the configurations on your own site. So it doesn't measure traffic. It doesn't measure how many users go to your webpage, for example. It measures only the visual and configurations on of the site itself. And that is why it's very important for us to have the Search Console. I know that we have it, but we can't access it yet because we need to validate the ownership of the domain. So now if we try to go on Google Search Console, I don't know if you have tried to log in, Annie, on Google Search Console.
I tried to with Alipio, and I don't think he was able to get in. We were trying to. Anyways.
Maybe if you can show your screen so everybody can know how Google Search Console looks like.
I can try. It was on his computer, actually.
Don't worry. I can guide you through the process.
Okay. Let's go. Is it the first one? Or
are you showing your screen? I think we only see your slides.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, the first one, Google Search Console. And then you can sign in. That's right.
Do I put my email, or it has to be like the main email?
I think if you have your Let's Go Guru email or any email, let's try it, because there's been a while since I tried to log into Google Search Console as well.
So when you log into it, you don't, like, it's not attached to just one email?
That's a good question. No, because I can also log in. The thing that will differentiate that is when you put the URL, like the letsgogroup.com. And the person that's why we cannot access to the reports yet, because we haven't validated the ownership.
Oh, I see.
So we are going to just get until certain step, but we are not going to be able to pass that step because we need to validate the ownership first.
I don't know why this is giving me so much trouble.
Let me see if I can.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, great. You see, so this is the main page of Google Search Console, but you see that we cannot see any data or anything at all because we have to validate the domain first. So you can put the Let's Go Guru domain here.
Do I have to put www?
You can remove the www. Yeah, so only letsgogurus.com. Continue. And you see, this is where we are stuck between quotes, because we have to validate the ownership of this domain, of Let's Go Guru domain. So to do that, we have to go to our host, which is GoDaddy, go to the DNS section, copy paste the code that is in there and paste paste the code here, or just follow these steps. As we don't have access to that, the only person I think that has access is Gabriel. Maria is already talking to Gabriel to try to set this up. After
Awesome.
we validate the ownership, then we are going to have access to the reports and all the information. So this is the current situation now.
Well, hopefully it gets figured out soon, because I would like to play around in it. It did look
Yeah.
pretty cool when I was in there. It did. So, no, thank you. Thank you so much for that. Because like I said, I don't have a ton of experience, like especially with Google Analytics. I've just seen it. So I wasn't sure if it was connected or same thing.
Yeah, I'm to answer your question, I'm not really sure if they are connected, but as I know more Google Analytics than Google Search Console, I haven't seen any option to connect Google Search Console unless it is through any code that we have to implement on the page. But I don't have that answer yet for you.
Not yet, but you'll have it, I'm sure. Awesome. Any questions on Google Search Console or Analytics? I mean, I probably won't be able to answer them, so I'll ask Katia, but if Fred or Fernanda have questions. No, such a loud group. Okay, next slide. Awesome. Okay, so the XML sitemap. This was really cool to me because I had no idea that this was a thing. So this is kind of a new concept for me. So, and again, please correct me if I have any wrong information here, but this is what I found and kind of what my understanding is. So XML sitemap is a file that lists all of the URLs in your site. And so it makes it easier for Google to see all of the pages so that they, can kind of go from there for search results and ranking and stuff like that. XML sitemap SEO comes into play, which of course applies to us, as the crawling and the indexing of the pages on the site is a big part of how search engines figure out where your site's going to rank in all of that. So by optimizing your XML sitemap, and I guess this is a question, because when you optimize your XML sitemap, that means that you include more and more pages, like you include everything, I'm assuming. So please let me know if optimizing this means something else.
Yeah, I can add some comments here. So this is also part of technical SEO. Actually, this is the first time that I hear about sitemap. I mean, the explanation of it, but I knew this existed, and I can correlate the optimization of the sitemap with the URLs. So, for example, when
like adding more URLs?
No, the composition of the URL, one single URL. For example, if we create an article, then and the article is talking about best restaurants in Rio de Janeiro, there are some times that when you go to WordPress or to any other website, you create the article and the URL is automatically created. When that URL is automatically created, sometimes it's a bunch of numbers and characters instead of saying, let's go guru dash best restaurants in Sao Paulo. Because the URL also, we can use keywords on the URLs as well. So the URLs that are very, very long are not that very well optimized. So if we are talking about the sitemap of all the URLs that the site has, then we must be checking that the URL that we are going to use for the particular article is correctly optimized in terms of not being that long, using the relevant keywords on the article, because that is going to be included on the list of the sitemap. So that is what I can correlate with this, like optimizing the URLs that you have. And probably that is why on the third point that you mentioned, it says ensure the visibility of deeply buried pages. So that will mean that if there is a page that is important and has a huge URL, probably we are not getting that visibility on the sitemap and we are losing that page because the URL is not that optimized, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no, it makes total sense now that I know what site mapping is. So yes, makes total sense. And thank you for that, because I wasn't sure what that meant, but that makes sense, right? Because if the URL is too long, then it doesn't show, right? It doesn't have visibility, so makes sense. Makes sense. So I wanted to show this because this is what Google Search Console can look like kind of their main dashboard. So there's a lot of different options on the left. So there's overview, performance, URL inspection, coverage. In this case, we were looking at sitemaps, and then you can add a new sitemap and go in from there for how to manage your sitemaps through Google Console. So that's kind of how that connects together. So it will be really cool when we get access to it, because then we can come in here and actually play around and get familiar with how it works. Oh yes, Katya.
Yeah, I have a question because I haven't used, I think, a Google Search Console or only once in my life. But when we upload a URL, I believe, I'm not sure, it's more like a comment, not a question, but I think that we can connect the Google Search Console with our website. So when we upload a URL on WordPress with the URL and it's published in live, then it goes automatically here. But I don't know, I'm just commenting here because we also have the option to add manually the URL. But to add manually the URL here, that will mean that we had to publish the article first, right, in the page. So I think I'm questioning if we have to add every single new URL that we produce manually, or it is automatically done. But I think that we only will be able to know that once we have access to our Google Search Console.
No, and that's a great question, because that would, if it's totally plugged in, it would be amazing that once we create a URL, it just automatically gets added, right, to the sitemap.
Yeah.
So yeah, great question. I will be curious as to find out what it is too, right? And I think you'd think, because this is Google, right, that it makes sense that you can have it be automatic, because it would just be so time consuming to add them separately every time.
Yeah, but I think we will have to find out when we had access, because I'm not really sure how it works. So yeah.
Yeah, no, not me either. Not me either. Okay. Any questions on the sitemap?
No, not on my side.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Duplicate content. And I would say that this probably applies the most to us, is when content appears in the internet more than one place. And so for us, especially talking with influencers, I know I first learned about duplicate content because, when we're having our closing meetings and the influencer asks, oh, can I just send you a blog post? Can I just send you a blog post that I've already written and you can just post it on your site? Well, no, we can't just take what you have and post it, because it's going to be exactly the same, right? And duplicate content, I guess that having, the same thing in two places, right? Then is considered a duplicate, and then it's going to affect our search ranking. So, where is that here? So, like I said, more than one place is defined as a location with a URL. If it appears in more web address, then it's considered a duplicate. This is really hard for Google to decide which piece of content is more relevant. So I love this picture, because it's well, which one is the right content? Which one's the right Spider-Man, right? We don't know. They look the same. So which one does Google use, right? So two main problems is that Google doesn't know which version to include or exclude from their indexes, and they don't know which version to rank for search results, because they're exactly the same, right? So I understood even more, learning about this and kind of digging into it, that the duplicate content is really, really important, right? And that our content should be unique and very individual, right? So anything to add, friends, that I missed? I hope you guys like Spider-Man too.
I like it a lot. I really like your whole presentation, but that is the best part.
Right? I thought so too. I
Right.
like the Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's kind it's perfect. Like the image, just with the image,
Right?
it's really easy to explain that.
Right? I thought so
Yeah,
too. I
and
thought so too.
just to add a little bit of information as well on duplicate content, as you mentioned, it has to is related to unique content, right? But it's also related to the policy of thin content, unique content. So it's not always it's not only that Google cannot recognize which is the most relevant piece, but it's also that in our site we will be violating a policy and of content because there are two different information around there. So we have to be very careful for that as well.
No, that's a great point. Great point. I guess what I also learned is that you can monitor your duplicate content, and so I'm thinking we maybe have something that we use already, but in the videos and the learning that we did, this was the site that they talked about, which was SiteLiner, and you can do a check, like a scan of your website for duplicate content once a month for no cost, and then it generates a report for you to read, like I've included a picture below. On the video, the gentleman said that 15% or less for duplicate content is acceptable. Is that pretty standard, Katya? That's kind of the percentage of like duplicate content? Like in this example here, it's 18%, but he's saying, 15% is okay, 15 and lower. Is that like what you've seen too? Or?
What I read is 10% and lower, like from benchmarking.
Oh, 10%. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But I think it will depend a lot on the niche. So we have to maybe do a research about what is the benchmarking for travel niche in terms of duplicate content and try to stay below that. Because I think it's never going to be 0% on duplicate content. But to do all the efforts necessary to reduce or keep it as minimum as possible, that is what we have to focus on.
No, totally. So that's interesting. I'm gonna check into that and see if I can find like for travel niche if it's like 10% or 15% or what it is. So I'll research that and I'll get back to you guys. 404 pages. This was kind of cool because I've seen 404 pages all the time, but I had no idea that they were called 404. And I thought the penguin was really cute. So 404 pages are deleted pages within a website. So a page that was there and then it was deleted, it's gone. So a couple of reasons why these are bad for SEO. One is that it results in a poor user experience. So of course, imagine that you're so excited to visit this popular page, you click on it and it says, sorry, it no longer exists. Like sad day, sad penguin, right? That this page is not there anymore. But the other piece of that, and this was fun because I didn't even know this existed, is link juice is what they talked about. And that it's wasted, like especially if you had, say, a page that was very popular and then you suddenly deleted it. You have all this link juice going to that place and then people get there and there's nothing there, right? So they talked about instead of deleting a page that you should redirect it to like the next relevant page, especially if it has a lot of backlinks and that sort of thing. And then of course the 404 pages is also part of your Google Search Console. It'll be under coverage on the left-hand side of that one picture that we saw. I guess my question was for 404 pages, and if a page has backlinks and you delete it, does that breaks the connection for everything that was connected to that page? So would you have to, like, say all those pages that are connected to this one article, you'd have to get all those articles and reconnect them to somewhere to bring like your backlinks strength back up? Is that how that works?
That's a great question, but I don't have the exact answer, but based on logic, I will say that if you remove a 404 page completely or it just does not appear, yes, you will lose all those backlinks as well. But as the same thing as you create a new article, then you put everything back again. But the difference will be that the ranking will restart from zero. So, for example, if you already had a time where you were sharing that article, then it suddenly go to 404. All that time that the article was on the internet, it took effort, right? And also users and interactions, so it could rank higher. So if it is just deleted and added again, probably it will count as zero again, like starting all over, building the reputation and the authority. I assume it's that way because in the programmatic industry, if for example we have an ad and then the ad just does not show and we try to implement it again so it receives more visitors, it restarts the level of impressions, meaning the level of how many people click on the ad to see it. So if it had a monthly volume of 1,000 page views, it will restart from 0, 100, and increase again. So I'm using that same logic, but I'm not that sure on my answer.
No, and I would say you're right. I would say you're right. Because yeah, logically, I think that makes sense. So that's the, I guess, the danger, right, of deleting pages is that you have to start from scratch again, right? If you do that.
Yeah, but I think I could be mistaken, but I think that 404 pages are detected as bad since the beginning. For example, if we have a link and we publish that link and that link has something incorrect, it will give a 404 page. So it's not like it is live and received traffic, but it's like it was posted incorrectly since the beginning. At least that is what I've seen. So the risk of having backlinks on that broken link is zero because it's already a broken link being uploaded to the live page, right? But of course, I don't know if there's cases where you have a link published and then something happened and it goes 404. I think it happened, yes, before. But also, if there is a risk of that to happen, I know that some publishers or clients that I had also always do a backup of their links. So even if there are 404 pages, they have to kind of format the site. They format the site all over again, but they already have their previous links because they have done a backup of the links previously.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think we will know more while we learn more because I'm just assuming.
Well, and it's like, it's interesting because it's like we're scratching the surface, right, on all these things. Like, oh, what's a sitemap? What's 404 pages, right? And then once we get into it, then we can really like learn about it in depth. But I really enjoyed kind of learning these like new what do I want to say? Like these new ideas or these different things in the SEO realm because I really didn't know what any of these were. So yeah, like I think as we learn, we'll definitely learn more about like what it is and be able to answer like the questions and how it relates and what happens if this happens and all that stuff. So how do we apply this all in Let's Go Gurus, which is the most important piece of our learning and why we're here. So a lot of what we learned today, I would say, is more like on the management side. Like managing the site, the site map, the search console, even the analytics, right? I would say, like, if we're just writing articles, I would say maybe we don't need to check that, but I think it's good that we know about it because maybe the day will come that we, are supposed to be, I don't know, we're producing articles and then maybe the day comes that we have to go and, check the performance of something or whatever, right? So I think it's important that we know what all these things do and what, like, I think we will slowly incorporate them as we grow and as we learn. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, but I think knowledge is power. And I think that, if we can learn more about it, and it'll just be better for all of us down the line. Biggest takeaway, I think that applied for us the most was regarding the duplicate content, right? That our content needs to be original and unique. And I just want to finish by, there can only be one Spider-Man, right? So that really stuck for me, because that's true, right? It needs to be original and unique. So, and that's my little presentation for today. Did you guys have any questions that I may or may not be able to answer? I can research and get back to you.
It was good.
I think everything was okay. And I just loved your presentation. I think we started with the right foot.
Woo!
Yes, and I want to comment that it was really easy to understand all the flow of the information. For someone that, for example, came here knowing nothing about SEO, by the end of your presentation will understand a lot of things. Like, you really explained really, really, really well. I just have some maybe comments and insights. Google Search Console and Analytics, we are going to use them. Like, we do have to use them. In fact, we haven't used them at the beginning because we were already starting to learn. We were trying to figure out the content and the style and what we are going to write, and that was a lot, because it's a lot. But we do kind of a good practice is, once we publish the article, we have to check on Google Analytics if that article is receiving visits, or it's receiving users, or it's generating page views, generating sessions. So that is the other part, kind of, that's why it's called technical SEO, because it's related to not the content, but the page, the code, structure, but also to analyzing performance. So how do we know that our content is being valuable, useful for the users? Is if they receive page views, sessions, that those metrics are in Google Analytics. So we haven't done that yet, but we should do it. And
we will
do it. And Google Search Console is the other part that I'm also going to learn, because I haven't never used it, which is before we upload, probably before we upload the URL. What happened before that? Is the URL in good quality? Or is it, I don't know, I'm inventing things because I don't really know, but there are some metrics over there as well. So Google Analytics is going to be our go-to tool for performance, plus SEMrush as well. SEMrush we use before, right? SEMrush we use for the research, for the analyzing the volume before we create the article. Once the article is live, how it will perform, how many users, how many page views. So that is what Google Analytics is for. And also talking about duplicate content that you already showed that to us, and it's very relevant to us. There is a way that we can check duplicate content in SEMrush. So let me show you here. So I'm here in SEMrush, right? And what we do is a site audit. The site audit basically is going to run an audit for our website, in this case, Let's Go Grooves, for all the URLs, all the pages, and it will give us the issues or warnings that we have for that website, right? So I'm not going to rerun the campaign because it will take 15 minutes more or less, but I already have audit that I run this Monday, I think. And as we can see, we have 13 errors, 251 warnings. So if we go to the errors here, these are all related to technical SEO. And here you see 5 pages have duplicate meta descriptions. In this case, these pages have duplicate meta descriptions. So it could say duplicate meta descriptions, duplicate content, duplicate blah blah blah. You see here, have duplicate content issues. So when I run this, like 2 or 3 months ago for Let's Go Gurus, we had like 20 duplicate content issues. And after we have done all the work, you guys have done all the work to adjust and correct, now we have 0 duplicate content issues. This is related to the content itself, duplicate content. This is only related to the meta description, not the content, but still we have to correct it, right? So in this audit, we find all the issues, we find all the warnings. You see 89 pages have a low text HTML. All of this is technical SEO. So you guys can explore this as well. I encourage you to explore, to just get familiarized with what this means. Because besides giving you the errors, the warnings, and the notices, it also gives you explanation. So here, in every single issue, you will find why and how to fix it. And it appears what is the issue, what is the category of the issue, and how you can fix the issue. So this is very important in our general knowledge of SEO, because once we know more, we will be able to identify and understand the metrics as well. So that's it. Let me just stop recording here 1 second.